All right, here we go. Well, hello. My name's David Goppelt. I'm here at Green Pastures Farm in Clark, Missouri, at the famous ranch or farm of Greg Judy. And today it's April 3rd. And so you can see, of course, the grass is greening up behind us. It's not grown a whole lot, but it's starting. And today, spring is a fresh start. It's a fresh start for the grass. It's a fresh start for the trees. And I'm hoping this can be a good start to what I'm going to call the Thinker Farmer YouTube channel. So my goal in this YouTube channel is to essentially share my story. I'm a young regenerative grass farmer. I'm 26 years old. It's been my passion for at least a decade, arguably much longer than that. And I want to share my story through this YouTube channel, and also reconnect with friends, hopefully make new friends and bounce ideas that I have off. So a bit of my background: I didn't come from a farming community or even a farming home. My dad was a chemical engineer, and he worked 30-40 years doing that. And my mom was, she was formerly a PE and English teacher, but she retired, and didn't really grow up thinking, originally as a kid, didn't grow up ever even thinking I would pursue farming. But after the '08 recession, my dad lost his job. He was out of work for 2 years. And during that time period, I really became interested in all things soil and earth and growing more of our family's food. And so through my teen years, I was homeschooled. I developed a huge passion for just growing vegetables and other things. And I never really thought that I'd be considering a ranch or farm lifestyle. It just didn't make sense to me, because I grew up outside the city limits of Gonzales, and the idea that there would ever be an opportunity for me to heal a landscape that was literally hundreds of acres just seemed impossible, just out of the box. And it wasn't until I read Pastured Poultry Profits by Joel Salatin that I realized animals are actually there to heal the landscape. We can actually use animals on the landscape over time to build soil, increase soil organic matter content, and leave the land better than we found it. As a person, my primary mission, or my bigger picture mission, is to simply touch land and people and leave them both better than I found them. So what I've concluded, and the light bulb kind of went on when I was 16 years old reading Pastured Poultry Profits, was that animals is the best way to do that. And originally, again, I never thought I would be capable or in the driver's seat or the opportunity to even consider managing larger acreages. I started out raising pastured poultry after I got out of high school, and from there I built a small business raising a couple thousand broilers a year and selling through local venues, farmers markets. And going through that process, I realized I was farming alone and on my own, and essentially began a journey away from home, and worked a few different places. Now I'm here at Green Pastures Farm, and it's kind of been since that time period, which is, it's been 4 years really since I kind of moved away from home and started going on journeys and working different places, meeting different people, and really seeking to build experience, connect with other people. And like I said, my mission is to touch land and people and leave them both better than I found it. So in leaving home, that was my goal, and really felt that managing a few acres and trying to raise chickens was not going to be a sustainable venture for me. And so recently, I was in an intern lesson with Greg Judy, and he encouraged me, and I think he was sharing with me how he's built his brand using his YouTube channel. And in my mind, I was mentally thinking about how over the years that I have been farming, every time I move from a place, I carry the experience I had with me. I carry a lot of wonderful memories, and I sometimes carry a few really good relationships. But there's something to be said for being able to stay in one place and just grow there. I think of a couple different sayings. One of them is, a rolling stone gathers no moss, which means that if you constantly move and are constantly just migrating, you're never going to accumulate or be able to build a stable business. And so for me, another saying too, it says, bloom where you're planted. In other words, wherever you originate, wherever you've come from, that's where you should just go ahead and grow, because that's just what you're adapted to, and that's the easiest environment for you to work in. It's a comfortable place to be. Well, I disagree with the saying, bloom where you're planted, for a couple different reasons. One is, I'm not a flower, so blooming where I'm planted is to me doesn't make sense. God gave me a pair of legs to go places. But also, depending on your context and where you are and what you're meant to be, animals move, things grow, things adapt, things change. Feeling like you have to stay in your comfort zone may or may not be the best thing to do. And so, with the lifestyle of having been gone from home for a few years, worked a few different places, I began to look at myself in the mirror and say, if I continue this for 5 years, which is possible, I may, in long range, I don't know. Maybe long range, I will be a farmer that works different places. Maybe I'll be in one place. I've tinkered around, just questioned my mind, where will I be? But I finally decided, what could I do to allow those years of experience and accumulation to be worth more at the end of this period of what I call a nomadic lifestyle? And so I finally decided, you know what? I could create, and I talked about it with Greg Judy in the middle of an intern lesson. I was like, I could create a YouTube channel to tell my story, to tell my experiences, to share my ideas, and it would hopefully be a blessing to other people and something that they would benefit from as well. Because if you're a young aspiring farmer out there, you're probably going to have to learn. Many of you may be growing up in a suburban neighborhood, and so you're not going to have a farm that's just going to drop in your lap in your backyard. You're going to have to go places, learn from different people, probably need to learn from more than just one farmer in order to start your own business or venture. And depending on your context, you probably won't have the money to just go out and buy land, so you may end up leasing land. You may end up moving around the country. So some of the ideas and things that I've had to learn, and mistakes I've made and am making, you may learn from those. And so that is that's kind of the backdrop. That's kind of a brief story, my brief farm story of where I'm at today, and also my context. And let me talk a little bit about the channel. I want to call it, or rather the name of the channel is The Thinker Farmer. So why would I pick a title like The Thinker Farmer? Well, there's 3 reasons. One is, as a person, I do a lot of thinking. I started out farming thinking that it was all about getting things done and just doing things, knocking off checklists, pushing through project lists, and knocking things out. And I began to realize as time and years would pass that the intensity that I put into my work to get things done wasn't really bringing satisfaction to me as a person. And in a big picture, stepping back from everything, it really wasn't producing goal accomplishment. Some goals would be achieved, but others would not. The intensity of getting things done is not enough. You have to be intentional about it. And so that spurred me to begin critically thinking about decisions more, evaluating them, and really asking why I do things. Because at the end of the day, if you are incredibly good at doing certain tasks, but you really don't have a strong purpose behind that, if you really don't know why you're doing them, it can become pointless, and you will work very diligently in a direction that does not matter. You can be very, as Ranching for Profit puts it, you're very adept at hitting the bullseye of the wrong target. You'll lose sight of what you're really after, and you'll lose the fight or lose your end in mind objective. So that's the first reason I want to call it the Thinker Farmer, is it defines me as a person quite well. Second reason I want to call the YouTube channel the Thinker Farmer is, I'm having a mental blip here, gang. Bear with me. Shoot.